Good evening. My name is Phil Easter, historian and writer from Baltimore, Maryland, also known as the Amazing Memory Man. Recording tonight on Monday, August 11th, 2025. This is story number 78 on my YouTube channel, which is Phil Easter, the Amazing Memory Man. Since December of 2021, sharing many stories on a great variety of subjects with people. And tonight, we examine the career of baseball legend Cal Ripken Jr. Cal played for the Baltimore Orioles from 1981 to 2001 and set one of the greatest records in baseball history when he broke Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak of 2,130 games that the great Yankee played, all those games back between 1925 and 1939. But on the evening of September 6, 1995, Cal Ripken Jr. played his 2,131st consecutive game, ever since June 5, 1982. My good friend Jack Bonney, who I've known since 1978, he and his son were at that game, and also the night before, on September 5th, 1995, even the night when Cal tied Lou Gehrig. So Jack and his son went to those two consecutive games, September 5th and 6th, 1995. And also on September 6th that year, President Clinton and Vice President Gore both came over from Washington, D.C. And that's how important they considered this baseball event, that very seldom does the President of the United States and the Vice President ever appear at the same place. Very seldom that happens. And but it did that night. Both President Clinton and Vice President Gore came over, and the former Yankee great Joe DiMaggio was there in person also to honor Cal Ripken, his great achievement of playing in more consecutive games than anyone in baseball history. And Cal went on to play several hundred more consecutive games, finishing with 2,632 consecutive games. On September 20, 1998, he took himself out of the lineup for the first time in so many years since 1982. Now, he still played several more seasons with the Orioles, several hundred more games, but not all consecutive at that point. But he had played 2,632 consecutive games. And then he finished up, his last game was October 6, 2001. He played game number 3,001. So he's one of only 7 players in baseball history to ever play more than 3,000 games. Pete Rose played the most total games. He played over 3,500 games, which is quite incredible. And in a typical season, Pete Rose would play most of the games, but he might miss just a few. So not as many consecutive, of course, but he does have the record for most total games. And Carl Yastrzemski has the second most total games played. So Cal Ripken is in 7th place for most total games played, and one of 7 players over 3,000 games. But the incredible thing was he played 2,632 scheduled games in a row over all those seasons from 1982 to 1998, despite having some injuries that did occur from time to time, but he played right through them. And I saw him play many times at Memorial Stadium as well as Oriole Park at Camden Yards. In fact, I saw the last 3 games ever played at Memorial Stadium on October 4th, 5th, and 6th, 1991. That was the year I went to 20 baseball games, 20 Oriole games in one year. Most years I would typically go 4 or 5 times. The one time in my life I went 10 or more times, and I went to actually 20 games that year, because I lived not far away from Memorial Stadium, and I knew that'd be the last year they would play there. And the ticket prices, of course, would go up at Oriole Park. So over many years since then. So I went to as many as 20 games that last year at Memorial Stadium. And Cal Ripken that year won his second Most Valuable Player award for the whole American League. The first time was in 1983, the same year that the Orioles won their last World Series. And Cal Ripken, I think he made the last out of that series. He was playing shortstop, of course, and a Phillies player hit a ball right to him, and that ended the 1983 series. The one time Cal Ripken got to play in a World Series and also won. I think he played so many more years and he probably expected to get back more often, but the Orioles did make the playoffs some of those years, but never got back to the World Series. But still, even one World Series championship is great to have. Some of the greatest players in baseball history, like Ty Cobb and Ted Williams, never won a World Series. Ty Cobb played in 3, but lost all 3. Ted Williams played in 1 World Series in 1946, but his team, the Red Sox, lost. I should point out, too, that Cal Ripken went to Aberdeen High School in Harford County, Maryland. He was born in Harford County on August 24th, 1960. So coming up in a few weeks, Cal will celebrate his 65th birthday on August 24th, 2025. He played briefly in the minor leagues for a team called the Rochester Red Wings. And a game in 1981 that Cal Ripken played there was the longest professional baseball game ever played, Major League, minor league combined. That game went 33 innings. Incredible. And he was part of that game, the longest game in professional baseball history. The longest game in Major League history in particular was way back in either 1920s or 30s. I know it was at least close to 100 years ago, and that game went 26 innings. That's the record for a Major League game. But for any professional baseball, Major League or minor league combined, Cal Ripken did play in a 33-inning game. Cal had 431 home runs in his career, had 3,184 base hits, a .276 lifetime batting average, almost 7,000 runs batted in. I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. It was over 1,695. I meant to say almost 1,700 runs batted in, close to 1,700, and scored close to 2,000 runs also. But he also twice won the Golden Glove Award for the best shortstop of the whole American League for those years. He had an outstanding fielding percentage of .979 fielding percentage for his whole career. I saw Cal Ripken also in a parade in Towson, Maryland on July 21st, 2007. They honored him that day in Baltimore County because that was 1 week before he would be officially inducted into the Hall of Fame on July 28th, 2001. I was not able to make it up there for the ceremony, but I did watch it on TV. But I was glad at least locally I got to see the parade that honored him just 1 week before on July 21st, 2007. Cal Ripken Jr., one of the greatest players in baseball history, the man who broke the record that seemed unbreakable by the great Lou Gehrig, playing in more consecutive games than anyone else in baseball history. So we soon will congratulate Cal Ripken coming up for his 65th birthday on August 24th, 2025. And in less than 1 month, on September 6th, 2025, will be 30 years exactly since Cal Ripken broke Lou Gehrig's record that night at Oriole Park in 1995. This is Phil Easter, the Amazing Memory Man. We'll see you next time for story number 79, another story on another subject. Thank you and good night.